Do a quick. Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you another Kamen review. This time I'm going to be giving my final thoughts on Kamen Rider build. In summary, I think it was a really good season. I put it in my top 5, probably at number 5. I usually put Kuga at the top, then Double, but I kind of waffle between which I think is better. I like both pretty equally. Third would go to Gaim. I'm not sure what... 4 would go to Forze. The 40 rider goes to Forze. Forze goes to 4. Mainly because I hold it kind of special in my heart for the fact that Kamen Rider Meteor is like my favorite secondary rider, and B, it was the first season I watched as it came out, so it's kind of special in that regard for me. And I definitely put it solidly in my top 5. I think it was really good. It had a lot of really great moments. It could be dark when it wanted to be. It was definitely the darkest, I think, of the of the modern Neo Heisei stuff. Probably second only to Gaim in darkness. And which makes sense because that was written by the Urabuchi. Urabuchi, the guy who wrote Madoka Magica, which was also really dark. Let's just take Sailor Moon and have people get beheaded and stuff. But yeah, I think it was definitely its best when it was dark, like during the introduction of the black hazard form and the hazard trigger, and how it killed off one of the 3 crows, and how Sento went to like a blue screen of death, had like PTSD for 10 episodes, and nearly let himself be killed, like commit suicide if it meant that he wouldn't kill anyone else. The stuff with Evil absorbing like Sento and Ryuga, and how he almost lost them completely for good. But it definitely could have its moments with good humor, like the interactions between Sento and Ryuga when they fight. But it could also kind of be over the top, like Gentaku's stupid outfit gags during the end of the series, when I thought that was a little too much for what was really the dark final moments of the series. But it's one of those things that I think it just depended on my mood if I liked or not. Favorite characters were Grease and Ryuga, just because I think Grease is portrayed by Otoya Kurenai, one of my favorite rider alumni. Ryuga just because he had a really great arc, dealing with the fact that like he had to learn what it meant to be a Kamen Rider, and B, just dealing with the fact that he's had evil cells inside of him. Sento was definitely a good protagonist. I like that he was both brazen and egotistical, but at the same time wanted to do good. To be fair, he more than made up for why he was so egotistical, just with his inventions and how good they were. Best villain for me would be Evil, just because he always had plans. Even when his schemes failed, he always got like a secondary scheme going, or part of his plan worked out anyways. In a lot of regards, he was like Xanatos from Gargoyles in that respect, just because he was always playing a game of chess and was always willing to play the long game. Second favorite villain was probably the head of Namba Heavy Industries, just because he was a lot like Evolt in many ways, and if not for him, Evolt probably wouldn't have gotten as far as he did. Weakest villain for me would probably be Utsumi, just because he was just constantly ranting and raving after a while. I liked that for Madarog and just being like this violent fighter, but at the same time, it didn't really make much for him. I liked him better when he was the cold, calculating cyborg of Toto, and when he was helping out Gentaku. I will admit his death was interesting, just because it made you wonder if he really did care for Gentaku or not, and we never really will know, since that Utsumi is no more and doesn't even exist. In terms of weakest characters, I'd probably say it was Sawa, just because Sawa was um, really had very little development. And the fact that she was the traitor twice, it was really obvious she was the traitor twice, was kind of frustrating. I didn't hate her or anything, but I just felt she was really weak just because she had little to no development. It was mainly just there to be an informant for the group. Um, like unlike say like the informants that like Double would come across, who all had like interesting character moments and would all interact with each other fairly often, like Queen and Elizabeth, Santa Chan, the Watch guy, the cops. They all, while they were minor characters and didn't have nearly as much development, they were at least more memorable, I think, than Sao will be. I think like of the main cast, Sao will probably be the most forgettable of the group. Um, Favorite arcs, of course, would probably be the Hazard Trigger arc, just because of how dark it was and how really well built up it was, and just how every step of it made sense. Weakest arc would probably be the the first part of the Rogue introductory part. It gets better once we get to the proxy fight, especially when we get Rabbit Rabbit and Tank Tank. Um, but it's really weak in the beginning since we have to establish why Kazumi's working with the group, and which leads to killing off the remaining three crows, and they're really obvious that they're gonna die just because of how they go off on their own. like like neither of their deaths were nearly as impactful as Aoba's death. Um, the worst for me being the Castle Smash being left alone with the Pandora's box and Rogue killing him. Like, it was so obvious he was gonna die just because of the fact they left him alone. Um, in terms of otherwise weaker moments for me would probably be the introduction and death of Copy Build, aka Sento's father, just because it was really just there so that Sento could learn how to defeat evil and bring peace. But I still probably give at least that Sento's dad was important, and we at least got some good moments between both Sento and Katsuragi in that. Um, and to be fair, it also helped that I think it definitely helped to clear up some unfinished business from the arc before that, of the arc that led up to the Genius full bottle, which had evil absorbing people left and right, Sento losing his memories and trying to get Sento back so that they could finally use the Genius full bottle. But yeah, I just think that that really that's kind of why like my thoughts are kind of all over the place, and that's mostly what I feel like why Build is really good, but also is kind of weak, just because it had so much good going for it, but when it was low, it was frustrating, just because it was kind of the safe choice, or just did it kind of in a way that was kind of frustrating. Like, again, Gentaku's weird outfit stuff, particularly his introductory part where he was wearing all those weird costumes. Like, at least they toned it down to just shirts with like weird writing on it, but it was dumb. Especially when people talk about the Rogue miniseries being so dark and impactful and important, and then like Gentaku's character slowly devolves from being like also having PTSD and not wondering what he should do to keep his father's lineage going, and if he can live up to the example of what it means to be a good leader like his dad. And then he's doing all the stupid shirt gags, and it was frustrating. In terms of suits, my favorite would probably be Cross Magma, tied with the full bottle Rabbit Rabbit and Tank armors. I think those are really solid outfits and designs. I think their impact to the story were super important. And I think overall they were just really nice looking. Favorite rider would probably be a tie between Cross Magma and Grease. I would have said Rogue, and I still love Rogue. It's the reason why I bought the Nebula Steam Gun, even after I have the Trans Steam Gun. It's why I bought this. It's why I bought this full bottle. It's why I bought the Splash Driver. But Grease, in my opinion, had like the best character arc out of all of them, aside from Ryuga himself. And it's also why the Grease is actually my Splash Driver right now. But yeah, no. In summary, I think it was. I think he just had the best story arc of the group, other than like Ryuga and Sento's arcs. But yeah. So in summary, I think Kamen Rider Build was really good. I think it had a solid story. It had some fine humor to it. And just overall, I think it was a good package. If anything, I could say that was weak about it. It was just that it had some moments where it played it too safe, and it kind of made it obvious and kind of frustrated me just how obvious things were going to happen. But in general, I think if you want to get into Kamen Rider, this isn't a bad place to start, especially with the Neo Heisei. I'd still say watch like Kuga or Double first. Heck, even watch like Gaim or Drive, but if you're looking for like a really good season, I think this isn't a bad place to go. But I think now, guys, it's time to finally put Kamen Rider Build to rest. I think it's time for us to see the new king. So with one final full bottle shake, I will never get tired of shaking these. I think it's time we finally say goodbye to Build. Thank you all for watching. I'll understand if you guys don't want to watch with follow along with Zio, if you only wanted to come in to see my thoughts on Build. But I hope you will stick around, because we've still got My Hero Academia to talk about. We've got Zio to talk about. We've got movies that are going to come out to talk about. But in closing, I hope you all enjoyed this last experiment with Build. And I hope it was a good one. So in summary, guys, I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks for all for watching. Next is going to be my Hero Academia thoughts. And just in general, I hope this was a good one. So until we see each other again, guys, I'm Zangetsu 134. Take care.